Well, welcome back to The Go. It's your boy DJ Stir the Pearl here with the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Manager of Knoxville Utility Board, Madam Tanisha Baker. What's up, girl?
What's up, my brother? How are you?
Look,
We're here.
What's up? I'm just glad you're here and spend a little time with me today. You know what I'm saying? My people.
You know when you
we
call,
got the big
I come.
dog.
When you call, I come. That's what it is. That's what it is.
That's called relationships.
Exactly.
Well, I got Madam Baker here. And first of all, I want everybody to know, Knoxville born and bred, Austin East graduate.
Beep, beep.
College graduate. Cum laude something, because you know what I'm saying? Don't let the smooth taste fool you. Some serious cerebrals going up in there. Let's talk about that. Talk about Knoxville and how you see the evolution of Knoxville since when you were coming up to now.
Sure. So, born and raised, grew up in Knoxville. Actually, prior to going to Austin East, which is our center city urban school, you know, it's what's happening. But I spent some time in private schools with very little diversity.
Okay.
And navigating those waters back in the 70s in Knoxville was very different and a little challenging, but I absolutely gained some life lessons that have served me well. And I think really set the foundation for instilling that passion of equity and access and appreciation of diversity. Didn't know it then, but now I realize that this journey probably started through those experiences. But yeah, so from there, I go straight from a very limited, diverse environment to Austin East Magnet High School, right?
Yeah, man.
And,
but those years you were in those other schools, those were some formidable years. You know, people don't realize how much you learn, especially in the subconscious as you get older, you know, during those younger years.
And I would ask my mom, why are you making me go? Like, why are you making me go? And she said, it's the educational opportunity you can get here. Right. And I'm thinking, I can get educated anywhere. Why am I going through this torture? But when I finished 8th grade, I was already through with Algebra 2.
Whoa.
But I don't know anything different because that's the school I'm in. I don't know that all schools don't do that.
Right.
And then when I realized that, I start thinking about this equity and access to education. Why don't all schools offer that? Why aren't all kids afforded the opportunity to have this advanced learning? Because I didn't know it was advanced learning, of course, right? And so, and that's kind of been my platform and passion and drive since then.
Wow. It's amazing. Growing up in New Jersey, you know, they thought I had an advanced brain back then. So I was in the advanced classes on the college preparatory class slate through the public school system since 5th grade. And so I finished Algebra 1 in 8th grade. And then when I got to high school, you know, you it's amazing how many kids are starting at just advanced arithmetic.
Right.
And don't even get to algebra to their junior year of high school.
Exactly.
And so now you tell me you finished Algebra 2 in 8th grade. That's some advanced teaching going on right there. Now that's serious, sister. That's serious right there. You know, but the private school, you know, when you got private school learning, you know, it's just a different learning environment, and it activates your ways of how to think. Because I had the blessing of being able to send my daughter to private school until 6th grade, when she didn't want to go anymore. But you know, I'm glad I did, because I see the different ways your brain starts, processing things, and the pause you may have in your older years just to get through it if you need it. And sometimes, you know, and you wonder why it doesn't happen in public schools. I'm a public school, product. You know, I see how different issues that come to the classroom that you might not deal with a smaller class in private school.
Let me share this, because I want to be clear on, I've done some research.
Okay.
Yeah, what is the difference, right? Because we have quality educators.
Right.
And there are some things really outside of the curriculum that contribute to the advanced experience or learning that you get. When we look at test scores, and we put a lot of stock in test scores, which I'm opposed to doing, but we do, the biggest discrepancy or difference in test scores is based on the number of experiences kids have had, not necessarily tied to the instruction they've had, because all learning builds on something. So the more experiences you have, the more learning you can attach, the more new learning you can gain. Yeah. So when you're in a private school setting, yes, the smaller classrooms and the more attention that each student can get is, across the board, that's beneficial, right? So if you're in a class of 10 versus 40, the experience is going to be different. But in a private school, just the virtue of the fact that you pay,
Right.
so you're in a group of people who can pay. That group has more experiences and opportunities to provide those things for their students. And because they can build on that as far as learning, it creates this kind of divide or extra opportunity. I remember teaching and
Yeah, that's interesting right there.
a student, so we do attach your reading to a lot. So literacy is critical, but I love math. And so, but in the math test, a lot of it is word problems. So whether you can really do the calculations, you also have to be able to process and interpret the words, and they have to make sense.
Yes.
So I asked the student to read the problem to me, and he says, we're looking at ratios, right?
Okay.
And so getting into something else, and he says patio, and I was thinking, what's a patio? What he was reading was patio. But in his experience and his home environment, he had never seen, been on, or heard something referred to as a patio. So does that make his intelligence lower? Absolutely not. No. He had not experienced that word. And a lot of times we attach or judge the intelligence of other people based on our own experiences. And at some point, I'm going to get that out there, but and I appreciate you giving me this platform because I'm going to talk about it every time I get a chance.
That's what we here for.
Because we're all educators, right?
We got to figure it out. That's why we going in.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So we fast forward. I get to Austin East, doing my thing, enjoying life. It's a whole new world, right? I'm with people that look like me. It's going down.
Yeah.
And so I was able to.
I could imagine it was a different type of environment inside those halls between classes, too.
So, yeah, a whole new set of life lessons I was able to pick up there at Austin East. But I was the valedictorian.
Yeah.
Miss Austin East, very proud of that. And I share that because I want people to aspire for that, right? Regardless of the environment, there's greatness that can come out of that. So very proud Roadrunner, very proud, and still am, even though it was many years ago.
But,
to hold those titles, right?
Valedictorian, that's strong. I had aspired to be the valedictorian of my high school when I first got to high school. Even told my mother I was going to be that. But I got so busy in athletics and unfortunately I didn't take scholastics and academics as serious as I should have, because I probably could have competed for it. But the young lady that was my valedictorian, she was even co-valedictorian of her college when she graduated.
Oh, right. So that's
she was incredibly brilliant, had polio.
Okay.
She had polio, and she went to public school, and I'm from an urbanized part of New Jersey, and she was a young white girl, and my high school was full of African Americans and Hispanics, and so because she had polio, she was small and had that walk, and sometimes those that wanted to pick with somebody would pick her, and Vicky had the protection of all the athletes. So, we protected her, an angel on earth, and just incredibly brilliant. Incredibly brilliant. I mean, I'm blessed to say I'm from a public school. I've had, people that were in my class, my graduating class out of Passaic High School, that are lawyers, doctors, and politicians, and doing big things. And I'm happy to say they're my classmate. But the intelligence of that Vicky was just amazing. Some people just have she was a walking computer. Before we had all these hard drives and terabytes, so on and so forth. So I say all that because I probably wouldn't have been valedictorian, but I still should have made the
a little trivia. And we talk about the influence of family and nurture on that. So my mother was valedictorian of the same high school.
Whoa.
Her sister was salutatorian.
See, look at that.
Her sister's son, my first cousin, was valedictorian. And so
that's a big deal. Tanisha, I didn't know that's a big deal.
When you set these academic expectations, however.
Right on.
Right. And it's something that we talk about generational change and impact. And once that first person breaks that cycle, it changes forever, because now you have a different set of aspirations and goals and expectations for your family. And I can see that. My great-grandfather, who I was blessed to be able to know, one generation from slavery, was a brilliant mathematician on his own. And so that carried on. My mother has a master's in math and biology, actually from the University of Tennessee and Knoxville College. But it's something to that. I don't know exactly the research or the science, but it's something to that.
Well, to me, it sounds like genes, and I'm not talking about Lee or Gloria Vanderbilt either. I'm talking about genetics. And,
yeah.
It's amazing when you have that, that family situation, that or lineage.
Yeah.
And you hear about a lot in athletics coming from Austin East.
Right.
To hear about it from academia, coming from Austin East, that's a blessing.
Yeah, it's some brilliance that came out of Austin East, and we'll continue to do that if we do the right thing.
Well, it's way more right things happening.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it. Talking about where you went to school, where you went to college.
Man, so another eye opener, right?
God, I need to get that.
I'm committed to the University of Tennessee. Okay, I'm going to be an engineer.
Yeah.
I'm going to gas engineering, and it's funny, full circle. When I was in high school, I did an internship with the Knoxville Utilities Board. And I was in their gas engineering department, decided I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to University of Tennessee. And then over spring break, we have these college tours. And I'm like, I just want to go out of town. I'm going on the college tour. I'm getting on the bus, going on the college tour, end up at Florida A&M University. FAMU, saw the campus, and I'm like, ooh, this is pretty, right? And then we go to a few social events.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, Mom, leave me here. Send my stuff. I'm going to FAMU. And she's like, wait, what? Like, you don't have scholarships here? We're like, let's get on it, right? And I will tell anybody, wherever you want to go for it. If you really want to be there, if you can make it through your freshman year, they will find a way for you to stay the rest of the time.
Yes.
So I had scholarships and some things to get me there. So I'm freshman year, met FAMU, majoring in business administration and accounting. At that time, the School of Business there was number 2 in the country, right? And so I get there, and I realized there were a lot of valedictorians, right? There, and so, okay. All right, so I got to hold my own here and figure all of this out. But I also knew that I wanted to stay there. And I needed scholarships. I needed something. So I excelled in my math classes because, interestingly enough, like my first college math class was algebra. And so I actually did very well in that class. And I get a call to the president's office, and it says, would you be interested in actuarial science? So what is that?
Both of those words are intimidating to me, actual and science.
Would consider actuarial science, you can become a presidential scholar, which means you have a full ride at this point. Okay, well, I don't know what kind of science this is, but sign me up, right? Sign me up. But actually, it's a lot of statistics and math. Kind of analysis, creating formulas and that type of thing. But it didn't matter, right? You got something to do with math and a full ride, sign me up, okay.
Love that math, full ride. Love that math.
So there was one other person who had started in that. At the time I got in, no one had graduated from it. So we graduated the same year, but she started before I did. So officially she's first and I'm second. From Florida A&M, and we had to take partner classes at FSU. But that HBCU experience was a level of support and learning that I had not seen. So I had the, people like me at Austin East, but we're all, and you have to think, so we're in the South, Southeast, Appalachian. It's a lot of things that inform and influence who we are. But now I'm in this space with people from, the Midwest, the North, all the way south.
And Florida's
West Coast,
different.
right. Florida's a little different. And so I pledged while I was on campus, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
That thing. Well, I know about my Bloody Up brothers down there. So.
Yes, you do. Right?
I do know my Bloody Up brothers.
So just a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. One of the best decisions and the best risk that I took.
Now, see, that's where I was going with risk, because
Yeah.
here you go, leaving Knoxville, going to Tallahassee. And I had the blessing of being on FAMU's campus a few times. I got a couple of frat brothers I did become close to, and still are close with right now. And a good friend of mine I played football with, Moses Collins, is from Tallahassee. So that's how I got the incredible Tallahassee connection, and got a chance to meet Deion, the guys at Florida State. And Tony Ezell was the quarterback at FAMU the time I was there, playing quarterback at Tennessee. But, you take a risk leaving and going down to Tallahassee from Knoxville. You're not on scholarship. You made it happen. And then you become part of a major that has not graduated anyone in it from historical black college and university. I didn't know that to just now, Tanisha. I mean, and we known each other, a whole lot of years. And that's just awesome. I mean, that's just awesome to me to hear you share that with me right now, and with everybody here watching. Talk to me about how it was when you finished and you graduated from Tallahassee, FAMU rather, and you came back to Knoxville. How did that happen?
So it's supposed to be temporary. I'm coming back to Knoxville, visit my family, rest, right? You know, I worked hard while I was in college. I did have a job, did work, studied, but also volunteered. I tutored a lot. And so when I get back to Knoxville, it's just, okay, what's my next step?
Right.
And I'm looking at the time at Dean Witter. I'm looking at Bank of America, at these different options. But I need a part-time job while I'm in Knoxville. So I just, a girlfriend of mine and we decided, she recently graduated from college. We were going to go work for this finance company for the summer and figure out our next steps. Get there in about maybe 2 to 3 months, I get promoted to manager. So I'm single, I'm young, and at that time I thought, oh, this is a decent salary. Let me hang out in this for a minute, right? Didn't like it at all. Didn't like it. Because it was consumer finance, and I'm already seeing this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Right.
But all the while, I'm still tutoring. And I will share, and my mother was a teacher, but there's a quote, I think it was Mark Twain, it's 2 important days in your life. The day you were born and the day you find out why. And I realized I was born to teach. In some capacity, I'm born to teach. So I hung in that for a minute, but I enrolled in the University of Tennessee in the Lyndhurst program, which was a fast-track master's program for education. And when I got accepted, because it's a very small cohort, I was really excited. So now I have my master's in education, and I start teaching in Knox County school system.
Tanisha, now here you are with a degree from a school, from a city that has the capital of an incredible state.
Right.
Okay, legendary HBCU.
Legendary.
The first to graduate in that major, in that concentration. Second.
Yeah.
Part of the first class.
Yeah.
Okay. And you come back to Knoxville.
Yeah.
To get more education.
More education.
To go into a profession that you found yourself born to be a part of. And not, I guess, because when you say actuary science, that sounds like, next to NASA to me,
Yeah.
That's on that level. And then you come to teach in your hometown. What was that like, finding your calling and then, starting to teach?
So obviously the pay difference between an actuary and an educator is pretty significant.
Yeah.
But again, I'm single, no responsibilities, and it brought me a lot of joy. But it also created this drive, well, I got to do something on the side, right? This ain't quite going to cut it all the way. But I poured everything I had into it. Now, when I first started teaching, I taught in West Knoxville. And in my school, there was very limited diversity. In fact, I was the only teacher of color.
Wow.
Another set of life lessons. Mm-hmm. But I also noticed that students were able to go to some of our more prestigious tutoring facilities and learning academies to get additional support. Okay? Wow. Interesting. Mm-hmm. So I started thinking about, well, in East Knoxville and in my hood and where I'm from, where I love, we don't have that. Mm-hmm. And if they were to put one there, I'm not sure we could afford it. Mm-hmm. So I opened Educational Enhancement Services on Magnolia. Probably it was around 98, 99
Okay.
when I did that. And the day we opened, there was a line from my facility down Magnolia. And I remember thinking, we want the same things. We want the same things for our kids.
Magic
Had we
Johnson
have
said
the
that.
opportunity,
Yes.
we'll take it, right?
I remember Magic Johnson saying that same thing. We want some of the finer things where we live and where we're from. Just don't have access to it.
Yeah, yeah. So I did that for about 10 years. And now I really didn't make any money, any money from it, just enough money to keep it open.
But it kept you smiling.
It kept me smiling, and I know that I made a difference. And I had educators and musicians and scientists, all people that were willing to come in and share with these students.
Wow.
And I run into them now as adults, right? And so that's that season of my life. And then during that season, I also got married, and my husband actually went to Austin East as well.
Awesome.
Now, we're going to tell different versions of this story, so don't bring him on the show. But we did know each other in high school, full circle, college, come back, having the time of my life, and we run into each other again. And the next time we ran into each other, we've been together now, we're married 20, together 27
Wow.
since that time. But during the time, I'm teaching, opened up Educational Enhancement Services, get married, have a son, and now, I have some more professional maturity. I have some things under my belt. I had been doing some speaking.
Yeah.
I started speaking actually in elementary school. Like I would enter oratorical contests. In fact, at FAMU, I entered one that started with 500 people, and I made it to number 3.
Whoa.
And it was just week after week after week of these speaking competitions.
And, it's amazing you say that because very few schools have those, and the ones that do, people that come in that placement where you are in the top 10% most of the time end up having a brilliant speaking career, and just leave and just go and do that off top. I didn't know that.
I thought about,
you did that.
The road less traveled, right? Did I pivot at the right time to the right place? But I am confident that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
I did what I was supposed to do. And that path isn't closed because right now it's opening up and now I have more to talk about, right?
With definite life experiences to support them,
Yeah.
Let's talk about your movement to Project Grad. How you got to that situation?
So I'm teaching. And I wanted it to be back and pour into, because I thought I was a great teacher because I loved it so much.
Well,
right?
Tanisha, the last thing you lack is confidence. So, I just want you to know, everyone sees that. She's a confident young lady.
I was confident in that. I mean,
Absolutely.
I stayed up. I did all the things, right? If we're studying rocks, I'm going and finding the rocks and making it all come to life. But I did want that same opportunity for students that I was familiar with from my neighborhood. So Project Grad is coming to Knoxville. We hear the big news. There were some principals that had gone to a conference. They sit in a session and they hear about Project Grad, who's transforming and changing the outcomes, the educational outcomes for kids. So they come back to Knoxville and you could apply to teach. And it was going to be the demonstration site. Maynard Elementary School was going to be the national demonstration site.
What year was that?
So this was in 2000.
Okay.
Okay? And so you could apply to be one of those teachers. And I'm like, I'm going to go for it. I'm not afraid of a no. Right? I'm not afraid of a no. Why not try? That way I won't wonder, right? And so I apply, but I get hired.
Wow.
And so now I get to teach in this fabulously designed curriculum that not only did it have the academic content, but it was different ways of engaging and structuring your classroom. Loved it. So I'm at Maynard and I'm teaching and they do these evaluation visits and they say, we'd like for you to kind of take lead on the math part and be a math coach. And I said, okay, that's my thing. But I can't leave my kids, right? And I'll never forget the director at that time said, right now you're impacting 20, 25 kids and families in this role, train the trainer, you'll be able to impact many more. So I thought about it and I said, okay. So that began my journey with Project Grad. So I spent several years as a math coach. We had 14 schools. I did that. And then, and I have got to say, I've heard it, but it is so true. You can run across somebody who has the power to change your life.
Absolutely.
If you run across someone who believes in you, they have the power to change your life. So I actually had a couple of people. But the director at the time, when I'm looking, I said, y'all need somebody to look at the data, okay? Because these trends, we need to be able to prove that we're making this impact. We need to look at this and make some decisions based on data. He calls me in one day and says, I've been thinking about what you said. You're right. And that's you. Oh, wait a minute. No, not me. I'm just saying y'all need somebody. Because I hadn't worked in data. Yeah, I have a degree in actuarial science, and I love math, but I hadn't done all.
Let me pause you right there,
Yeah.
Tanisha. You have a degree in actuary science.
Yeah.
Who else would be better?
Well, someone who had experience from degree
you
to
have
profession.
A degree in actuary science.
Yeah.
Where would you find someone that's willing to teach kids and be a part of kids' lives right now? Oh, especially back then, who had a degree in actuary science.
Keep in mind, this is like 15 years later. Okay, all right, Stara, we're not going to debate it.
I'm just letting you know, all right, sweetie.
But at the time, I didn't think I was the person for that role. But he said, try it.
Okay.
I tried it, and I loved it, and realized, oh, yeah, this was always the thing. And if you can couple that with education, it's perfect. So I spent 10 years as a data manager and working in college and career access. Got to travel, got to speak, got to engage with many educators and students and families, and it was great. It was challenging, right? We have unique needs and unique circumstances, not often based on their own doing. Okay, but we'll leave that there. So
right there.
I spent about 20 years doing that. And COVID came. Mm-hmm. It was hard because now we got challenges on top of challenges, right? And so I remember making a Facebook post because I'm thinking about my mom had recently passed. And who's looking out for the people that are probably truly scared to come out and needing things? I made a post and I said, hey, if you have an elderly person living in Knoxville and you're worried about them and you think they need something, let me know. So I start getting these messages, right? Can you go check on Miss So-and-so? She lives at this address and she likes frozen pizza or whatever. And then I get one from someone else. And so I spent probably a couple of weeks just making porch deliveries for people. A lot of people don't know this story. It was kind of behind the scenes. Wow. A lot of people offered to help, but also we had the students and families we were working with. So we would pack these boxes, the team we had, and make porch deliveries. And so after about 20 years of fighting systems and processes, tests, judgments, and really thinking about this equity and access, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do. The vehicle might be different, right? And COVID hits and I get tired. And I start thinking it's time for a change. What's next level? And when I coach and mentor people, I say you should always know what's next. But I wasn't sure what was next, right? But I knew it was time to take all I had learned and experienced and pour into something else. And so now this is crazy. This all happens in a week. Beginning of the week, we're preparing and thinking about what's next for Project Grad. I'm in line now. I'm number 2 in the organization. I'm in line now to move up. And I'm thinking, no, I don't know if I want to do that. Right? That's hard. And I always say, everybody can't be Batman. Somebody got to be Robin. And I'm a good Robin. I like being Robin, right?
Well, you always my Batman. You always get my Batman.
I'm a good Robin. I don't know if I'm ready to be Batman. And so a series of things happened. We are under now new leadership, new direction, new goals, and that's fine.
Yeah.
They just didn't align with what I wanted to do. So now I'm older, right? I think I can call more shots in my life. And you're in different professional seasons where you have more or less liberties. Mm-hmm. And so I just start thinking about what I want to do next. And I'm going to mention her name because she was so influential, and she probably doesn't realize this in this process. Tammy White, we were both in leadership Knoxville together.
Yes.
And she says, what do you want? Well, when I started talking about what I didn't want. And she says, no, you need to write down what you want. And then she said, I don't care what it is. The simplest thing. So I write down this list. All right, let's just say it's on a Monday. Mm-hmm. There's some conversations going on at the Knoxville Utilities Board about having a diversity, equity, and inclusion department in a position, someone to help move that forward. The job had been posted, people had applied, and someone was chosen. Don't know any of this. Mm-hmm. Someone says, you should probably talk to Tanisha Baker. She's really into this stuff, right? So this is Wednesday. Wow. They said, can we have a conversation? We do a Zoom call. We're just talking. I don't even think I'm processing that this is like an interview. I'm thinking, we're talking. I'm excited about somebody, jumping on board. Then it's, okay, well, can you come in and meet with our leadership? I'm like, So I called the person and I said, tell me a little bit more about this. And so they share, and it's a job opportunity. And at this time, okay, well, if it's meant to be, let's see. So we get in the room. Yeah. And so I start looking and thinking about my list, 10 things on this list. All 10.
Inside the business.
All 10 checked off. But I had simple things like I want an office with a window.
No, but still,
I want to work less than 10 minutes from home.
Wow.
I want access to technology. It was some simple things that just,
But they didn't know that.
They didn't know that.
Yeah,
they didn't know that.
That's no.
And so
situation.
I met with them that morning, and by that afternoon, I got offered the position.
See, Tanisha, look,
It's meant to be because and things that are meant to be, you have to realize that they are effortless.
Yes.
They're effortless. And so by that divine design, I ended up at the Knoxville Utility Board, and I started actually as a DEI analyst. They don't know me, I don't know them. We're both taking a chance and start getting into it, start doing the work, got a promotion to manager, and so that's where I sit. Now DEI has its own department, and we're doing great things, changing lives, changing systems. Yeah, so that's my professional place right now.
That's not a bad place now, Tanisha. It's not a bad place.
No, it's not a bad place.
That's pretty good right there. I like that. What I like even more is that people that have been paying attention to your journey. And because of that, you've got a Tanisha Baker Day. Tell me about the Tanisha Baker Day. I want to hear all about that. How did that thing happen?
I've been blessed in some of these latter years to receive some awards that I was not expecting. Because when you do the work, you just do the work.
Yes,
right?
I get it.
And then you don't even pay attention. People are paying attention because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
So I will say, leading up to this award, I am involved on boards, served on committees. One in particular is devoted. It was from the health department. It's called 5 Points Up. We named it that, but it's really devoted to unifying and beautifying East Knoxville. Still serving, so organized the East Knoxville cleanup, Winter Wonderland, those types of things. So did that. Tutoring, started the first robotics club, the Urban Robotics Club in Knoxville at Austin. So, just doing the work, but it's all tied into this equity piece, right? Because we don't have a robotics club. We don't have a Winter Wonderland. We don't have an organized cleanup for our community. We want to look pretty too, right? Yeah. So it starts in that. So you're just doing these things. And in 2020, I get a call that I'm going to receive the MLK Commemorative Commission Service Award. And I'm like,
wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like, that's big, right?
That's a real big deal.
And fast forward, my son was the first youth to receive that same award last year.
We into those genetics again? I'm just saying.
It's something about influence and setting the stage. And I'm bringing that because as kids mature, young people, We all learn through imitation,
Facts.
right? And so you have to be careful what you put out there. You cannot expect your youth, your kids to do something different than they see, because that's how we really learn. You can tell them all you want.
Once again,
Do
those
what I
formative
say,
years.
not what I do.
Yeah, those formative years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I get that award. I got a new job now. I'm going in at KUB. We were finishing youth leadership, Knoxville. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in a new season, right? I can rest. But
Best class ever. Best class ever.
Best class ever.
Leadership Knoxville 2020 kid. 2020.
Man, did we not? And the longest class ever,
And the
right?
longest.
COVID and weather and all those things. So I'm at KUB. I'm continuing to do work and still in the community. But at the time, I'm thinking I need to pull back a little bit, right? It is my season of rest. I need to pull back. I'm enjoying the work that I do professionally. I'm still doing some community things, but it's time to lay it down a little bit. And then I get a call, 2023 towards the end. Would I accept the NAACP Advocacy Award? I'm like, that sounds pretty big too.
My girl.
Tell me what that means, right? And so they start talking about the things I've done. And I say, yeah, that's in a lot. I would be honored to accept that award. Same week. Humanitarian of the Year. And I'm like, God, okay.
God is working.
God?
Yes, he is.
What are you telling me?
Yeah.
And as an educator, and we have to be okay planting seeds for trees we will never see bloom. You don't know when you're doing the work 20 years later that you'll get acknowledged. So now to your question, and I took a long way to get there because it's your show, and you're my brother, so I can do that.
But you are the star.
But doing that, so Humanitarian of the Year award came with two proclamations, one from the city, one from the county. And both mayors declared December 2nd, 2023 as Tanisha Baker Day. Put it on your calendars.
Yeah.
So I take the proclamation to this store and it's like, this is my day. Do I get a discount? And they were like, no. And so I'm going to try it again.
Well, you got to tell them that's a big group.
Yeah.
They can't
I don't think they really fully appreciated what it happened.
They were more in shock versus realizing who was in their presence. That was what it was right there. That's what it was.
Is that what it was?
That's what it was.
Okay.
They were in shock. So, right. we'll check their pulse next year. And
then
this year coming, we'll try it again.
Yeah.
So, Tanisha, now you got this diversity, equity, inclusion situation at KUB.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to know who you are and know a little bit about your story. But, we're going to go into the go-in questions because, the go-in is you can't figure it out unless you go in. Okay? So tell me how you see diversity, equity, and inclusion helping those who may not have the access needed to succeed.
Everything starts with understanding. So let me share really quickly a snapshot version of DEI.
Okay.
Because it benefits everyone.
Absolutely.
But DEI is also very interesting because it is the one area where there's an intersection between the moral case and the business case. And there's a place for both. So diversity.
Right.
The collection of differences in one space.
Correct.
We are all different. I have to let people know you can't have a diverse person because diverse means different than. So you got to have at least two people.
Facts.
And as soon as you have two people, you have diversity.
Okay.
All right? So that's all that is. It is a respect of me being different than you and whatever those differences are. And some people really go to the race thing. That's a piece of it. But you have gender, genetics, geography, upbringing, all of these things. Like I'm an African-American woman, Southeast Appalachian, right? It's a lot of things.
Right.
We can go into my generation. There's a lot of generational diversity and all of that. So everybody has a different blueprint. So we're different. And that's all diversity is respecting those differences from a white male to a black woman and everything in between. And so then you have the equity piece, which a lot of people interchange with equality. Equality is giving everybody the same thing. It's a place for that. But equity is giving people what they need. Equity was saying, okay, well, they might need a little something different so that they can be successful. than this group, or this person might need a different layer of support or a different kind of education or a different tool, a different strategy, so that group can be successful.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And so that's the equity piece, and that benefits everybody, right? Because
Absolutely.
whoever you are, if you get what you need to be successful, that's a plus.
Absolutely.
And then you have inclusion, which is the bread and butter. So diversity is a fact. You can't change, can't change that. So we can count diversity, men and women. We can count generations. We can count the number of people of color. All of that we can count. And diversity is a fact, but inclusion is the act because it's what you do.
Okay.
So that's where you talk about the respect and kindness. I also have to reinforce respect doesn't mean agree. We don't have to agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
It would be very strange if we did. If we have this diversity of thought and experiences, and we actually always believe the same thing, right? So we have this inclusion, but it's how I respect and treat your differences and your opinion, and you have value, and your voice has value, and you're welcome in this space to do what you do as yourself. You don't have to be like me to be successful. Be you. Right. And still be successful. So that's all DEI is. And so when you look at it in an organization, we think about representation and diversity of thought. That has value. You strengthen your creativity, your innovation, your production, and all of that. Because I'm limited to what I know. I'm limited to what I learned and my experiences, and so are you. But when we bring them together, now we've doubled down. Well, we add somebody else in. Right on. Now we got a triple effect, right?
Right on.
So in an organization, what your goal would be is to make sure you have diversity of thought and experiences on your teams, because they strengthen your teams. And then you want to make sure that you not only gain, but you retain your employees. So you want to create this environment where people can be successful and enjoy the work they do. And that's all it is. So everything that goes into that, from hosting team building and networking events to training and facilitating opportunities, make sure there's equity in pay, equity in promotions, equity in processes, services to our customers, and all of that. That comes under that umbrella. So how can it be a bad thing?
What villainized it for so long?
Because we will villainize things that go against what we want. Like I could villainize peas because I hate them. And I could talk about all the bad things in peas and convince you that peas are bad because they're bad for me. Right? And one thing about, I think, over profit, people like to hold on to power. And when you have an effort, because what DEI does is distributes the power, says you deserve some, I deserve some. Once you start distributing the power, it reduces it from that one holder. And so that's been an issue. When you're too sensitive to understand or appreciate the history that got us where we are. See, I didn't have a choice to have my feelings hurt. But now you're telling me you don't want your feelings hurt, so you're going to rewrite what happened? No, that's not going down on my watch.
That whole piece, what you just said, rewrite what happened. How you going to rewrite what's already a fact?
Oh, well, it's because we have fiction.
We got fiction.
Right?
But so
you can write the fairy tale, but somebody has to be a legacy for the truth.
Absolutely.
And if they won't tell it, we have to.
Absolutely.
Before it's forgotten.
Absolutely.
You can't change it.
Right.
That's one thing about it. You can rewrite it. You can create the fairy tale, but you cannot change what actually happened.
The fact.
Exactly.
That's part of DEI.
Exactly.
Facts. And wow, that's powerful because that's a big topic around the world now, even in the music game. DEI. And people are starting to. One thing that's happening, or they might not want to become, but they are becoming aware of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been, I guess, aloof to the facts of it and believing what they want to believe and getting caught up in the old metaphor of trying to be Mr. Run Things or Madam Run Things. And then we forget about the reality that power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so now you're missing all the love and all the work that happened to get that situation to blossom where it is right now because you're trying to rewrite something that puts a fact to the side and
Okay.
wow. That's a big deal. Whoa, I appreciate you sharing that right there, Tanisha. That's a big deal right there. Now, I want to talk about how does music help you do what you do? I'm a
So,
music guy. I'm a DJ.
let's talk about music and math.
Go.
So I actually took piano
Wow.
from probably the age 5. I did my last recital, came back to Knoxville from FAMU and did one at Knoxville College. I was probably 20 at that time. So music was a part of my life. My father and grandfather were musicians. And so just the sound of music was always soothing and inspiring. But I like the sound.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot through music lessons. Because it's a lot of, series of fractions and beats.
And see,
okay?
I'm right there with you.
But my music teacher, because we played all types of music. It was about the technique and the art more than the genre. And I would say, I don't know that song, like that song. I want to play gospel. I want to play, And they're not going to like this. And she taught me this. Excellence trumps everything. She said, if you're excellent at what you do, it won't matter what color you are. It won't matter your gender.
Absolutely.
It won't matter where you're from. Excellence will trump everything. And we see it so much in music.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because of the artists. And they're accepted in spaces that you might not think they belong, or, it might seem odd, but music kind of transcends that. And then music has also carried our history. It has carried our stories because our art is attached to our lives. And when we think about the poetry, and music is also that,
Yes.
that's a way. Like, I can listen to hip hop songs and know what was going on, right? We
Relive
can,
some memories sometime. Yeah.
exactly. And so music has been and still is that soothing place for me. And I sit and I listen, Now, I will say the lyrics, I'm still attached to some of the older lyrics. Some of the newer ones are quite catchy, but I love beats.
Yeah.
It is something, so the instrumental version to music, and I remember Lollipop, okay? The beat of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I changed my ringtone. So I remember students told me one day, Miss Baker, do you know what that song is? I hear something about Lollipop, but listen to this beat. Well, you might want to listen to the words, Miss Baker, to this song that you have as your ringtone. So I do, and I'm like, oh, well, that might not be in alignment with what my position here as an educator, but I love the beat. So anyway, I found the instrumental version, and it was my ringtone for a long time. But music requires discipline. It requires artistry, and it requires creativity, and all those things that you can have on your own.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's my music story.
Wow, because I figured music had to be in there somewhere because
It changes your mood, right?
Ooh,
You done it.
Yeah,
I walked into a Stir of the Pearl event, and then and my friends will tell you this because I'm always reluctant. I don't feel like going. I don't feel like getting dressed. We step into the place. DJ Stir of the Pearl has it turned. Next thing I know, I'm dancing, sweating, singing, trying to figure out how I got there from I don't want to go to having the time of my life. So.
Well, and that's what music does for me. And people and everybody has their reason why they do things when it comes to music.
Yeah.
I DJ for one reason. If my thing is, and I've said this a million times, if I got you in those four walls, or if I'm outside and you hear my music, my job is to make you forget about every problem you have during the entire time I'm DJing.
Yeah.
That's it. If I can make you smile, I did my job. And I don't DJ for the event that I'm at. I DJ for the conversation after the people leave. I really believe in a lyric that the OJ said back in the 70s. Music is the healing force of all the world. It's understood by every man, woman, boy, and girl. They didn't say what color. They didn't say what part of the town you was from. They didn't say, financial status. They said every man, woman, boy, and girl. And that's young and old, both sexes,
right.
Regardless.
Everybody.
And it's for, like you said, music is for everybody. That's what I always feel. You got people that crossed over in genres that seem strange at different moments. Average white band to the Beastie Boys. People are doing that. Now, Beyonce's got a hot song out now. That's country and number one, and you know.
And let me tell y'all, commercial break. I was a part of the Bay Hive. I will say that. I really what I respect is the work.
Yes.
Okay, the journey and all of that. She's phenomenal. But now I see people out here buying these cowboy boots and hats, and that's fine. But it's not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
So you still can be who you are and enjoy Texas Hold'em. You don't have to change your whole wardrobe to match the song and the genre. You know, we tend to do that, and that's that whole assimilation piece. And music actually has a heavy influence on DEI and all of that.
And that's where I was
But
going. Yeah.
I do. We do like to imitate our artists, and while I'm saying that, I was myself looking for one of those little cowgirl belts.
Giddy up.
Right. But isn't that amazing how that happened? But equally amazing is that people would be opposed to it and say you don't belong here. But how can you not? And you number one on the charts.
Well, see, know what the beautiful thing is about that? There are so many stories that history facts that are not
Charlie
forgotten
Pride.
that they can't forget from either side.
Because excellence trumps everything.
And I'm even going to take it back even further on the hip hop side.
All right.
I remember when the Beastie Boys came out.
You say this is not for y'all.
And excellence trumps everything. I remember when Eminem came out on the hip hop side.
Man.
Excellence trumps everything. I remember when Ice-T had his rock band and they ran the charts. Excellence trumps everything. Tina Turner
said,
keep
I want
it going.
to do rock and roll.
The Average White Band.
Okay.
You got, so I get it because of the conditioning that we've had over the years, because of people trying to rewrite things.
It's like you think people belong in a box.
Hey. And that's what music does. It gets people out the box. Mm-hmm. It brings people together. I mean, you think about from back in the days when the Temptations would come down south and there was a line between them performing, then all of a sudden they come back again and that line is gone and people are together enjoying the same concert they saw 3 years ago.
And you might say, oh, I don't like that genre, I don't like that song. And there's certain songs and it plays and everybody knows the words.
How does that happen?
How does that happen?
How does that happen?
How am I singing Sweet Home Alabama? I don't know. How do I even know the words?
And everybody knows how I feel about Alabama, but that's a personal thing because of athletics. But it's a great song.
Okay, well, you're not rolling nothing. We're not rolling eyes.
No, I'm not rolling eyes.
We're not rolling nothing.
I'm a Neil Diamond fanatic.
Yeah.
And people forget that Neil Diamond was one of the ghostwriters for Barry Gordy back in Motown.
Mm.
So
I didn't forget. I didn't know.
Boom,
but
boom.
now I know.
Boom, boom. So you got all these people that, you know, that music crosses the lines and DEI was happening before it became
before it gave it a title.
Come on.
And I'm trying to, and I recently talked to some colleagues, and I'm in several groups with people across the country, and we all face similar challenges and things about the name. Is it the name? Because the concept is positive for everybody. So you already hit on why not. So maybe we change the name. Maybe I'll just call it the Kindness Initiative or the Respect Initiative or something like that because it's the same. And if the name is the hang up, my challenge, is like, I'm not going to give in. It's DEI. Maybe you can call it what you want to call it. As long as you respect the differences in people and everybody's welcome to achieve. So, I don't know about that. Man, I don't even know how long we've been talking. I got so much I want to talk to you about.
Hey, man, look, I'll bring you back. Look here, we bring you back to the
teaser.
Go for the tease.
We're going to talk about the concept of calling something a future butterfly instead of a caterpillar and how that changes the mindset of things. And we're going to talk about everybody needs a dugout. And for you and I, we're like the dugout, right? It's like that place where you see you can't get out in the dugout because you done came home. You done crossed all the bases.
Come on now.
We're going to talk about that.
Oh,
You gonna bring me back. So that's a teaser, so you gotta bring me back.
That's a stir the pot. That's
You
you,
stir
and
the
if
pot.
you want to catch Madam Tanisha Baker, you can always get on Talking with T. She's on every week.
Yep,
WJBE.
Talking with T on Tuesdays at 1:30 WJBE. You
There
can
it
go
is.
to talkingwitht.com, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Music. You can catch it anytime on your time. But each week is a new show, trending news and hot topics, but also a theme. And so I appreciate people hanging with me. I am now in June. It will be 9 years of Talking with T.
Whoa. You about to be a decade on that. We gonna do something special. We gonna celebrate 10 years.
Okay, we gonna celebrate 10 years.
Come on now.
Okay.
Oh, the Divine Nine, and you about to hit that. Oh, say less.
Okay.
We doing something for the decade, baby.
Okay,
We doing
all right.
something.
I just can't believe it.
Baby, look, you think about it. You was having fun while you doing it. So these 9 years probably went by so fast.
They did, but every week I just
Hey,
can't believe
it
that
ain't
it's
easy
gone
being
on
you,
this
baby.
long.
It ain't easy being you, baby.
Man.
Come on now.
Somebody has to do it.
Somebody got to do it. And we just did it right here on the Go In. Tanisha Baker, your diversity, equity, inclusion manager at Knoxville Utility Board. Thanks for hanging out with me, babe.
Yeah, I'm excited always.
Boy, stir the pearl. We just went in on the Go In with Tanisha.